Welcome back to the I Hate Insurance podcast. Say goodbye to fake coverage full of exclusions, gaps, and fine print. We're exposing the old school insurance world, showing you what real partnerships look like. Today, we have a legend on the show with us, Jason Ellis. Some people may know him, some people may not. He's a legend skateboarder, and we're happy to have him on with us. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Jason?
Well, first things first, legend. That's a bit heavy. I wouldn't go that hard. But what about me? I'm from the Outback. It's not my fault. Just born there. I moved to America when I was 17 to be a professional skateboarder. I was a professional skateboarder for approximately 20 years. I was top 3 in the world at one point. Then I got a job in radio, satellite radio. And when I was on radio, I could not skateboard anymore because I had to move to Los Angeles. So I thought it'd be a real smart idea to get into fighting. That's why it's hard for me to say legend, because I'm pretty stupid. I've had some doctors go, do you know, being a professional skateboarder and then being a professional fighter would not be my greatest choice of moves, but it's exciting, a lot of adrenaline. So I was a professional fighter, a radio host, did radio for 15 years. The show was very successful, ended up making a lot of money, which was pretty funny because I'm illiterate, uneducated, and a lot of my friends didn't think that I would make it to 30, but I had a Mercedes-Benz at one point. Used to valet all the time. Very fun. And then COVID came and Sirius let me go, and I got into podcasting, and turns out I got there a little late. Not as successful in the podcasting world as I was in satellite radio. And I was like, why not be a comedian? I'm funny. So here I am 5 years into being a stand-up comedian. I headline around the country, in Canada even. And it's going pretty well considering how long I've been in it. I've got a long way to go, but the same rules apply. So I'll be one of the bigger comedians in the world in just a matter of time. So yeah, that's what I do now. I tell comedy. I teach people how to box. I help people with sobriety because I've had my battles with that my whole life. Yeah, I'm basically just here to help people these days and enjoy life with a clear, functional brain for the first time in my entire life.
And you're still doing the podcast?
Yeah, still do podcasts. Yeah, I can't not do a podcast. It's a weird thing to be that successful in radio and that unsuccessful in podcasting. A lot of podcasters think my podcast is successful, but to me, it's a pile of shit.
Hey man, where can they find it?
Oh, the Jason Ellis stuff. Wait, yeah, no, Jason Ellis Show is a podcast, free podcast. Then I have a Patreon because that's a weird thing where people that had me on SiriusXM, they like to have a paid for streaming service. So my Patreon that's successful. So patreon.com/EllisMate. I do 3 shows a week on there. And that's more the old people from Sirius.
So those shows aren't posted on Apple Podcast. It's just posted on Patreon. So you have to pay almost.
So the Jason Ellis Show, there's a free podcast. That's Apple, Spotify, all that stuff. And then there's the Patreon, which is patreon.com/EllisMate. And that's a paid for streaming service where you get 3 shows a week, because that's the other thing. Satellite radio were like, we like Jason Ellis 5 days a week. And I'm like, well, I got 7 jobs now, so 5 days a week ain't happening. But I'll give you 3. And that's for Patreon, that my show is actually pretty successful.
Nice. Well, we appreciate you coming on, hanging out with us, and listening to the insurance preacher preach. You know, he'll preach about insurance.
Yeah, everybody loves insurance. It's a very exciting topic. So we have a lot of fun talking about boring insurance. So anyway, I kind of have some common path. I started insuring all these crazy recreational guys that couldn't get insurance. Now I insure truckers that are like uninsurable and homeowners that are uninsurable. So I get stupider and stupider as I get older.
We got a lot in common.
Yeah. No, but Anyway, we do have, we talked a little earlier about paths at Cross. We've insured skateboarding, Bob Burnquist and Tony Hawk. And, I did the Rolling Stones concert during COVID when Lloyd's in London wouldn't do it. And we just did the Dukes of Hazzard's jump. All these guys, whether it's Tony Hawk's agent or their agents calling me Friday night, 4:00, we got a show tomorrow, we have to do it. And we got some demolition derby happening this weekend somewhere. The same thing. James is calling me last night. So more of the same. Just I started in 1985 doing this, and my goal was to be $100 million company, which is really small. We're about 400 million now, and we basically help good people get away from the insurance we hate, because it is a decision, right? You make a decision to buy cheap insurance, and that's what I hear from everybody. It's like, dude, I just want the cheapest insurance. I'm not going to have a claim. I'm like, well, then I can't help you, because I help people who they may not have it, but somebody in their industry is going to have a similar claim. And the motocross track thing we talked about earlier, before that podcast or Zoom call, I got a call from the guy in LA that ran the track, and they paid a kid that broke both his legs when he tried to make the triple $1.3 million, and they get canceled and they can't get insurance anymore. And I'm like, so, you don't have to pay him. That's a decision that you make and that the lawyers talk you into. If you're at fault somehow for him breaking both his legs on that jump, like you had a track hoe on the course he landed on that shouldn't have been there, or there were other riders down and you didn't have flaggers, then yeah, you pay. But where there was no liability, no fault of you, you can't pay that. Or you feed the fire that takes you out of business and puts the industry in trouble. And, it is good people that get in claim situations where they pay a claim they shouldn't. They're damaging their own business going forward, and they're damaging the whole industry. Remington Firearms is probably the biggest company. They got sued wrongfully, in my opinion, when somebody used one of their weapons in the school shooting. And when you get in a litigation situation like that and you pay a claim you shouldn't pay, you pay it because they're threatening you with bankruptcy. So that's why you pay it, is to save yourself, right? They managed to pay it and go bankrupt. So, they call me after they can't get insurance anymore, and it's like, we want to get back into business. I'm like, well, who's the genius that settled the claim that you shouldn't have, and how did you screw it up 2 times, right? Because if you settled it, you should have cleared the decks and solved it. But really what they did was they encouraged the legal system to blame people, similar like the guy who rented the Ford truck in New Orleans and ran down the street and ran down all those people. You could sue Ford Motor Company because it's their truck. So, that's the type of trending that lawyers and plaintiffs' lawyers are always going to push for. We're representing the unrepresented. And again, our strategy is, when we screw up, our insurance screw up, we pay. We don't waste money on lawyers. And when you're suing us frivolously, we're never going to pay. It's war.
It seems like the people, when they hear things like that, then they start to make claims that are, they really don't have a claim, but it's out there where it's like, oh, I hurt my neck, or oh, you mean I recently passed a lady in my car and somebody opened the door on my car as I went past them, and it was on video. My girlfriend filmed it and it ripped my window off, and I was like, you opened the door, and you stalled for a very long time. I went past at a reasonable speed, and at the last second, you opened your door on my car. It's your fault. Yeah, okay. And I took video, took photos, and then the insurance company notifies me that the lady goes, no, it was his fault, and my neck is injured. And I remember thinking, look, I'm the kind of guy, like if it was the other way around, I'd be like, man, it's a bummer, but I did that, and that's the end of that. Like, I got to pay. this lady, the insurance company even said, look, I know we've got photos, the videos. Obviously, we see that you're in the right, but she is saying that she's hurt. So it might go, it's going down this road. And I'm like, why do people, like, you're not going to get any money out of me. You're just doing this argument. What is the point? But it's because they've been taught to lie.
They think that somebody's always responsible anytime there's an accident. Right. So again, I used to tell the rafting guides in the 80s when, again, if you have $1 million policy and somebody dies in the boat from a heart attack, do you want to pay that? Because you can. Now they fall out of the boat and die from drowning. You can pay that one too. You knock them in the head with an oar accidentally, knock them out and they fall out. That one I would say we ought to pay, because you created an additional risk. But where it's a risk associated with it, the lawyers are always going to be overly aggressive and allege things that, in my opinion, just they aren't true, right? But anytime you have an employee dispute or bar fight, everybody's got their story, right? And that's where video is the most powerful thing. So, liquor liability is a separate liability that we do a lot of around the country, and it's sold on an individual basis because the hotel or the business insurance covers everything, but we don't want the liquor. And I always tell people, look, that's a red flag that they really don't like your business. You shouldn't let an underwriter pick and choose and kind of take the right part and leave you to go fend for it on a separate basis. That feeds the legal system. So again, it's not a policy or policies, multiple. Every policy you add to coverage feeds a poor result, right? So, when we insure your home, we insure everything, right? Because if we don't cover it, you're going to have to, right?
Well, a lot of skateboarding events, they exclude participant liability, right? So they'll cover like liability for the event, but the people skateboarding, not going to be covered in most cases.
Or motocross tracks and, participant activities where they call it racing or speed competitions. There's obviously a professional line there. Like if you're a professional F1 driver, you're a full-time employee and you have work comp. If you're racing at a, local track or you're competing in a local skateboard contest, you might be considered professional because you're paid, but it's really not your profession, right? You're competing, just like the boat races I'm involved in. The people race because they love it or they're given the opportunity to do something that other people aren't doing, right? So, anyway, it's common sense. As I said earlier, this is like playground stuff. You have a tight team. You're running a business, you're growing a business. You should be like a Super Bowl team that's put it together the whole season. And now you're on the 1 yard line in the Super Bowl and you can win. And you say, I'm tired. I just want to settle this. And, we probably won't win anyway. And in my world, you have to know if you can win. It would kill you or me to do something that, we'd look back on and think, well, I could have won that. You should have fucking done it then, dude. You shouldn't have, given up, which is what I see about the legal system, is the slow, monotonous pace of it and the billing. People get tired. I hear that more than anything. It's like, Rick, I just want this over with. And I'm like, that's part of the game.
Right.
Right?
It seems like they know that and they prey on that. Because people like you, when you win like that, it's not out there. I'm not aware of you until today where you're doing this and winning. And it's like, if the rest of the world knew about it, then they'd follow your lead. But it seems like people just know to quit because it's tiring.
I have this big, buffer in front of me. I'm an insurance agent, broker. Now I own an insurance company. And I'm, as a profession, I think that, most people are doing their task in it. And it's either being incompetent or a crook, which I don't think it matters which you are, right? But you really need to live in the shoes of your customers, right? And you can't just say, well, I got you a cheap policy, right? And now your house, there's a story on 60 Minutes where the people needed $350,000. They got offered $13,000. This is Florida. And so they sue, and they're mowing their lawn on their lawnmower, living in a trailer in the driveway. To me, that's a problem that as an industry, we need to fix. Buyers need to say, I don't want the cheapest, I want the best value. And if what can happen does happen, I want to know it works out, right? That it's a successful outcome. And that's what in, all reality is a business. Anytime insurance is tested, Florida, lawsuits everywhere, Miami or Maui, Hawaii's fire, California fire, it's insurance that you should be looking to show up. And on every TV channel, they're always wanting to know where the government is.
Yeah.
Who's the government? Oh, that would be us. So, we all get to pay because we buy the wrong product that, if we bought the right product, it's going to cost more than stupid. But in the long run, we're all going to save so much time and money. It's ridiculous. 3-year lawsuit. How much, as you get older, when you get my age, it's like, dude, my time is worth more than, anything I have. So I don't want to do it wrong. To pay a little bit more and have a real plan instead of a plan that fails every time it's tested. It's like, it's cheaper to do it the right way. And that's with most things in life.
Wow, that is, the news was, it's like, what is the government going to do? I'm in California. That's all I was hearing. There's no conversation about insurance company on the news. It's just, what's Gavin Newsom going to do to give these people their houses back? And I'm like,
well, and most of them are insured with the state insurance plan, which, again, I think, if I could wave a magic wand or tell Trump what to do, I would say, tell these insurance assholes, if you take somebody's money, you better be able to make them happy, or don't take their money. And the government should stay out of insurance because that's fake, right? So the flood program, why not just make the insurance companies include flood? And then you underwrite each home and each risk, Again, California, when all the carriers down there abandoned the market, when did they wake up, right? They want to say it's wildfires. Well, wildfires have been happening forever, right? So what actually triggered the wake up? And when everybody woke up and said, we need to charge more money, which is to do the right job, you do have to charge more money. If you're a roofer that does a shitty job and you want me to compete against a shitty roofer, I'm going to walk up and say, dude, I'm too old to do that. Right? I can do it, but I got to charge you the right price. I can't compete with the new guy who doesn't know what he's doing. So, everybody went with the government. It's called the FAIR plan. And I've talked to at least 10 people who run businesses. They're smart guys. And I'm quoting their business in other states, and they own a home in California. They haven't been paid, right? They don't have a report, and they've now hired a lawyer to sue. It's all a big waste of time, and the lawyers love this shit.
Right.
Right?
That's
They're
their
not
job.
going to shut off the faucet. Anytime they can, and again, they're sitting there thinking, this is my job, and, insurance companies don't do the whole job, so they're an easy target. So how hard is it for the insurance industry to say, let's stop being an easy target?
Uh-huh.
Let's do it the right way and bench the lawyers.
I got a question for you, because this happened recently. I'm big into MMA, UFC, and all that stuff, and there's this guy who's a wrestler, Olympic level. He retired. He was in the UFC. Ben Askren is his name. And he got I believe it's a staph infection, and it went to his lungs, and he was real sick. It was on the news. Like his wife, I think he has like 4 or 5 kids, and she's, asking for prayers, and looks like he's not going to make it. And then turns out he needs a double lung replacement, like new lungs. And it's like, wow, that's really heavy. He's in a coma. And I'm like, whoa. And everyone's, thoughts and prayers. Everyone's like concerned. Everyone's pretty sure Ben's not going to live. And then it's like he needs this transplant and insurance is not going to cover it. And that comes out everywhere on the news because, I'm in the MMA world. It's in my feed. I'm aware of this one guy because I'm a fan of MMA that Ben Askren has insurance. He has a family and they're not going to cover it because it's such a expensive procedure is what I'm told. I don't think Ben Askren is the only man in the world that this has happened to, but he's the one that I'm hearing about. And then because Ben Askren is so famous, the president of the UFC, and I think it was even Jake Paul, like some people that are very financially well off, stepped up and paid for his surgery, and now he's alive. And he was a 200-pound man who is now, I think he's put on weight now, but the video of him thanking everybody for for reaching out or whatever, you can't tell he's him. He looks like a different person. He really did almost die. And if it wasn't for these other people that he knows that are incredibly well off, he wouldn't be here. And it just makes you think, how many other people do I not know? And how does it work where you have insurance and you need it, and then they go, well, whoa, that double lung transplant, we don't cover that. I'm like, he's going to die. How do you know?
Well, and with all of this, there's, new procedures. We talked about earlier, stem cells. And so, health insurance is like every other insurance. It's the fine print. And what isn't covered is the most important thing, right? And that's, if you tell them that, right, that's kind of your job, right, is to be clear about, okay, you want this cheap insurance, but this isn't what's covered. And I had again, my first storm where I saw catastrophes was Katrina. And there was this old agent who, became a mentor of mine, and he would stamp on your policy, no flood. And most people would walk out of the office and not buy the policy because he was being clear. His son got mad at him, said, you're chasing business away. And the old guy's attitude was, yeah, I'd rather chase it away than be the guy who screws them after the storm. And so, with health insurance, the Jazz Bear here, John, he touched millions of people, most famous NBA mascot ever for the Utah Jazz. He's got some cancer now, and same thing. He's like, I need to go to Brazil or somewhere to get this new, and insurance won't pay for it. And so again, to me, that's sad. And that's when, we as a community jump in and say, dude, go. We will figure it out later, right? We'll make sure. And again, you should have the freedom to go to Brazil, get the treatment, go to the Mayo Clinic, go to a doctor here that does stem cells, which here in Utah, it's pretty available now.
Is it?
I think Utah is one of the leading states that it's going on. We actually.
Wait, do I have to not go to Colombia anymore? Is that what I'm? Because I love traveling, but I'd way rather go here.
We know a doctor here locally that, again, I go to, and I've sent John to, and he's going, getting in an oxygen tank and acupuncture and stem, and, he's doing more, and insurance doesn't pay for it, right? But when you're dying, that's not the thing you want to hear. And mentally, it's got to have a bad impact. If you get the green light and say, dude, just go do whatever you got to do, don't worry about the money, then, I think people make better decisions. He didn't end up going to, where he thought he would in the beginning, and his treatment is working and it looks good. But again, the last thing you want when you're in trouble is people that abandon you. You want people who rally around you and help you get through the tough times. And, insurance is a faceless, I always say, Jake with State Farm ain't a good neighbor. And I know that from personal experience. So you can polish your turd all you want. Call yourself whatever you want. Your actions speak way louder than your slogan or, your marketing. So anyway, insurance is not a customer-friendly business, but that's a choice. As an industry, I think we have an obligation to be a fiduciary and tell people the truth, not disappoint them when, they come a calling.
So the industry must be terrified of you.
I always say I'm the most hated man in insurance, right, Bart?
Yeah.
I mean, the agents and brokers. I had one guy call me today. He says, Rick, I haven't talked to you forever. He's like, you guys won't quote this account. And I'm like, yeah, why not? And he tries to play it off like he's bringing me good business. And I says, sounds like to me my guys are calling bullshit on the fact that you won't give us the information we need. You're not being transparent. I can't be a partner with people who aren't transparent. So, anyway, you have to change your habit. Just like you said about, alcoholism or any addiction, it just takes one change. You just have to decide, I'm not doing that anymore, right? I'm not offering shitty insurance to people anymore. I'll offer them real insurance that at the end of the day, they'll understand how it's going to happen, and I'll live up to my obligation. And, you have to get them through the gates of hell.
Right, because change usually doesn't come until there's a rock bottom of sorts. And I feel like the country with insurance, my experience and watching other people's experience, I mean, are we not there yet? Because it's like, look at all these people that have insurance that don't get taken care of.
I'm a dumb, uneducated Utah boy that's, all of these big insurance companies that are hundreds of years old, which, again, when somebody tells me they're 100 years old, that's not a reason to keep doing shit the wrong way. Whether it's the boat racing people or, you're going against a 120-year organization. No, I'm not. I love the history. It just doesn't work anymore.
Right. McDonald's have sold a lot of burgers, but they're not very good.
Well, Parker likes them.
My bad. They're great.
No. He just likes giving me crap.
I do.
We should go get some right now. My bad.
So we got a board in the background. I think you brought something with you, didn't you, Jason?
It's funny because Tony Hawk is, everybody thinks he's cool, but he's not.
We think he's cool.
I'm cooler than him.
He hasn't even been on the podcast, and we have his board in the background.
Right. Yeah.
And
he's kind of an asshole. It's pretty obvious at this point because he's not here.
Yeah.
I am. I show up. Tony Hawk thinks he's too cool. This is my skateboard to you, dude.
Oh, I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. I think you're a great guy.
We'll get that one signed too. Oh, it is signed. It's already signed. We're going to put it up there.
He just signed it. It doesn't say to Rick, does it? Yeah, mine does.
It was one of the 20 he signed that day. So I appreciate you showing up. That's what I always tell people. You got to show up in life. If you don't show up, you're like everybody else. Right. Like, I'm on vacation.
Yeah, that's half the battle right there. I find that these days with everybody in every line of work and in life, where a lot of people like to talk, and I'm like, I've heard it. I've heard the smoke my whole life. I've heard being in the entertainment world. We're gonna get you this, or we're gonna get you that. And I'm like, until you show up and you do it, I'm not mad at you, but I don't believe you. But that's just the way it is. And I can tell now these days more horses, for some weird reason, have helped me read people better than ever in my life. I've become a pretty hardcore horse enthusiast. I hang out with a horse every day when I'm back home. And the way he is with me and other horses when I hang out with them, they don't talk, but you feel their energy. And I feel like that's a thing that I've picked up on, where certain people in a room, you don't have to, you can tell me all the greatest things you want, but I know straight away if it's real, if you're for real, or you're just all that smoke. And I feel like that's I get around life a lot easier these days because I never get pulled into bullshit anymore.
Thinking like a horse.
What's that?
Thinking like a horse.
I do.
Right.
And some people are like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I'm like, okay, cool, but it's working for me because I can tell, That's what it's just, somebody wants something for the wrong reasons. I can tell. Yeah. It's being in the skateboarding thing. Oh, you're friends with Tony Hawk? I'm like, here we go. Yeah. I'm like, what, do you want his phone number? You ain't getting it, dude. Like,
right.
Go reach out to Tony Hawk yourself. Hey, man, somebody's coming to my show tomorrow. I wanted to have a trophy that Tony won in Del Mar in some year. And I was like, I'm not replying to that. Like, I know what you're not coming to the show. 2, you just want me to tell Tony you want to talk to Tony. I'm like, you reach out to Tony yourself. I'm not your middleman.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. We're going to come to the show.
Yeah, that's nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
I'm offensive.
you can like heckle Parker back.
Yeah.
I'm not heckling. I don't heckle.
You want Parker to heckle you?
I'll heckle.
Well, you do that,
Then we get
and then
thrown
things
out.
will change. Yeah. Yeah. I don't point innocent people out, but if you come at me, then it's on.
But if you guys see Jason Ellis coming to your town, check him out. Local comedy club, right?
Yeah, my tour dates and tickets are thejasonellis.com. And I'm out there. I'm out there on the road doing my thing. And, I came from a rougher life. So I talk a certain way. But the message, if you stay long enough, the message is positive. I'm a good person.
You stay long
because
enough.
I feel like sometimes when
That's a warning.
It is. I try to warn because people are like, oh, he's a comedian. And then they come and they're like, holy shit, is that a real story? And I'm like, yeah. It wasn't all awesome. There's some rough parts of my life that I make jokes of, but there's also a message of positivity and triumph, like staying in it, fighting to keep going no matter what happens, keep going and things will turn out all right. That's just I didn't read it in a book. I lived it, I know.
So if you guys want to check out Jason, thejasonellis.com shows all the dates of his shows coming up. He'll be in Salt Lake. That's why he's here on the 17th. Probably this podcast will be released after that, I'm assuming. But he's got some shows coming up over the next few months. And check him out. Check his website out, and you can see if he's coming to a city near you. Well, we appreciate you coming on, man, and hope to see you soon and have you on again.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Maybe
Thanks,
at the boat races in Key West.
Yeah, man. I keep seeing that. It's crazy. I used to follow when I was a kid, and then I saw Travis racing one because I followed Travis, and I was like, wait, because I'm out. I don't know, And now I'm like, wait, those are you can. Travis is in it. I'm like, how do I want to touch it. I want to see it.
Let's do a YouTube video. Jason Ellis driving a race boat.
Bullshit.
Or the turbine boat. Both.
Yeah. I'll do it. I'm the kind of guy. Travis tried a 360 in his car, and then I saw him at a Ken Block thing, and I was like, dude, you're doing it all wrong. And he's like, what do you mean? Because he rolled it. And I was like, dude, you're better at driving cars than me, but when it comes to doing 360s,
that's me. Yeah.
And he was like, will you be in the passenger seat? And I was like, hell yeah. And everybody around me was like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I'll be all right, dude. Just give me a helmet. Like, we'll be all right. And people think that I'm crazy for wanting to be in the passenger seat with Travis, but yeah, maybe I am. But I also think that we will make it with my advice because you got to have a little lip to kick that inside tire up.
You need a skateboarder.
He's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing when it comes to threes.
He spun around the ramp? Is that what you're saying?
Well, he span and then also did half a flip and landed on his roof.
On the roof.
Yeah. Not with me in the car.
Yeah.
I got it all figured out, Travis.
You guys are going to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. He was like, deal? Like, seriously. I'm like, yeah, dude, seriously. Like,
because he had trouble getting anyone to even get in the car with him.
No, that's what everyone kept saying. Right and I was like, I'll be in the car. And people were like, no, you won't. I'm like, yes, I will. Yeah. Like, I ain't scared of Travis. I know that that's famous last words, what I just said right there, but I'm still not scared. I'll do it.
So check out our YouTube channel. We're not going to be doing 360s in cars, but we'll have Jason.
I won't be in it.
You are crazy.
Yeah.
We'll have Jason drive a race boat, maybe race Travis.
I don't want to race Travis. Look, I'm crazy, but I'm not an idiot. Okay, I don't want to be in the boat with Travis. Yeah.
We can make
Let's
that
go.
happen.
We'll do something, but check out the YouTube channel, and we appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah. Stoked to be a part of it. Yeah. Awesome. Stoked to meet you.